I feel so close up.
You are close up. You look gorgeous.
I'm like,
you're glowing. Love it. Hey, everybody on TikTok. How are you? Gonna give this a second for a few people to tune in before we go ahead and get started. If you guys could give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. That would be helpful. All right. Welcome, everyone on YouTube. Same thing. If you could give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right before we go ahead and get started. I want to check my tech. We are supposed to be having some kind of a storm out here. So I did get a text earlier from National Grid saying, like, watch out, your electricity may go out and this and that and the other. So if you guys are tuning in through YouTube and you have any trouble, go to TikTok at Ask Ivy and vice versa. All right, but so far so good. All right, looks like we have a few people tuning in. Again, on TikTok, if I could get a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. That would be helpful. Okay. All right, good. Thank you so much. All right, couple quick announcements while we let people tune in. We do have coming up our walk-in night monthly virtual 100% online from the comfort of your own home psychic fair. Our monthly walk-in night psychic fair showcases students and graduates of the Ivy League Psychic Academy. For $15, you get 2 readings, 2 healings, a reading and a healing you can mix and match. We are doing that. Let me cheat. That's July 30th up on the screen here on YouTube. If you guys are on TikTok and you would like the visuals and to be able to see Christina as well, go to YouTube at Ask Ivy. So there it is, Sunday, July 30th from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. You are going to want to get your tickets in advance. Okay, so again, walk-in night monthly virtual psychic fair, $15. You get 2 readings, 2 healings. Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, I have a mini class called Intuition and Suicide. Obviously, heavy topic. If you are yourself experiencing issues with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, if your awakening has pushed you to the edge and you're not sure what's going on, you're having trouble finding stable footing, or if you know someone who is going through this, just know that you're not alone. This is actually really common. We're going to be talking about it, not just the problem itself, because everyone likes to focus on light and love and rainbows and butterflies, but an awakening is actually pretty hardcore. It's a long, dirty journey before you get to a point where you can really handle it well. And some of us end up never getting to that point because we're not given the right tools. So we are going to be talking about tools and techniques that you can use in your everyday life. Psychic mediumship course, I believe, thank you, Wesley, my handsome producer. Psychic mediumship course starts on September 12th. So if you want to go ahead and get yourself registered, you're going to go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com and make sure that you are all set, whether you want to do Pathway 1, which is just the video downloads, or you want to do Pathway 2. You can jump on with us for the live classes, also do video downloads, but you will get certified through the Academy if you are, in fact, certifiable. And you'll be able to work Ivy League gigs after that. Okay, so check it out. Psychic mediumship course starts for the fall semester on the 12th of September. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Wesley. So you could also win. I know everyone's strapped right now. I understand what's going on. I don't even want to get into it, but I want to say that if you really feel that you're being called to take the course and you can't afford it at this time, Spirit often provides a way, even if it is week by week, and you can pay that way. But we are running a raffle also. $2,100 value, you can win the course entirely free. So get your raffle tickets. I believe it's like $5 gets you 1 ticket, and it's something like $20 gets you 6. That's up on the website. Again, you can go to the ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com or Rivera psychicmedium.com, depending on where you guys are tuning in. It's above or below in the description box. Also, tours. I will be on tour in, let's see, Naples, Florida, and the Florida area, November 15th through the 30th. So if you want to book a gig with me, you're going to go ahead and reach out through email. And the email is popped up here on the screen on YouTube. So that's rivera@yahoo.com. And I'll be in New Orleans somewhere between December and January. I haven't set the dates exactly yet. But again, if you want to book me for a gig during that time, go ahead and reach out. And if we haven't announced yet up on the website where I'm going to be, reach out and say, we would like to host you here in this state, this city, this town, and I am all about it. Also, the Symbology Book. What's that?
Love that. That's exciting.
I know. I think Christina's might meet up with us in New Orleans, right?
I would love to.
You should. And I think Maraid's coming. We've got Jan. We've got Jill, like a bunch of Wes, our producer, is going to be there. It's going to be awesome. So we also have my Symbology book. I am pumping it out as quick as I can, but it is super hot and, really exhausting to do. But I do want to invite you guys to get on the early bird waitlist for the Symbology book. Those of you who follow me know that I'm obsessed with symbology. I talk about it all the time on all my channels. And the book is going to be the 4 hours of training I give in symbology to my psychic mediumship students and much, much more. So you can go right there up on the screen again, Rivera@yahoo.com, to the email and say, I want to get on the early bird waitlist for the book. All right. And on a final note, before we go ahead and get into today's service, Christina, DelRey, and I are doing an open circle. Open circle is something I did for about 10 years. $10 donation. You can join us through Zoom or in person here at the headquarters in Dunkirk, New York. And I stopped doing it when the pandemic hit. We are back. We just did one a few weeks ago. It was lovely to be back with everybody. Christina and I are going to be doing it together. Everybody gets to ask a question and you get to be around the like-minded. So it's open spiritual development. I, of course, am focusing more on intuitive intelligence, and Christina will be focusing on astrology questions. This is going to be fun. Okay. When is this? Do I have a date for this? I'm putting Wes on the spot. Didn't we just pick a date? Isn't it August 18th? I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Okay, so go up on the website and check it out. But I believe it's August 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, and then Christina's astrology course is coming back out. Again, we haven't done this since before the pandemic. So awesome. And she's going to be releasing one class per week or like every 2 weeks, I think is right, our method.
Well, that first class is going to come out and we'll see what happens from there.
Wherever spirit leads. Okay.
That's right.
So check out her astrology basics course that is not so basic, I assure you. Awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Looks like we're doing pretty well with technology. So welcome everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and I'm the pastor of Roots Revival Interfaith. This is a church where we believe in the three truths in the universe. That's intuitive intelligence, astrology, and numerology, to show you your path in life, not only for the sake of your own healing, but also for direction and purpose, to keep you in alignment with your life contract, and ultimately to be able to give out your wisdom, your healing to others around us. I have with me Reverend Christina DelRey, our astrologer. How are you, Christina?
Awesome. Glad to be here.
Good. And we have Wesley, our handsome producer. He will be taking your questions and comments throughout the service. So we do encourage you guys to post. We are an interactive church, so we're going to try to get to all questions and comments. I also encourage you guys to start posting your prayer and healing requests. We are full. So services have gotten so big, and I'm honored to be able to say that. And I'm so grateful to you guys, especially on TikTok. We have a massive following on TikTok. And you guys post your prayer and healing requests every week. Christina and I knew that we would eventually reach a point where we could not possibly get to them all in a service. And so today will be the first time we do a blanket approach over all prayers, but go ahead and post them. We're going to be sending a lot of energy that way. Okay. All right. And today we are talking about how to go and stay no contact. Feel free to post your situation in the comments section if you have one. If you're dealing with an individual who is toxic or abusive and you've been struggling with boundary setting, or they are not respecting the boundaries that you have set, if you have gone no contact, we appreciate your wisdom and strength and how you've done that successfully. Or if you're thinking about going no contact, we can all support each other here today, because it is most certainly a difficult process, but it is doable. So Christina and I are going to be talking about how you can do that in alignment with the universe and your higher self, and to maintain it. Okay. If you guys haven't done yet already, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. All right, so how to go and stay no contact. I love this meme that has been going around. I posted it the other day on YouTube, and it says, the people you lose during your healing process are only meant to be with the unhealed version of you. I think that's so important to remember, that we are here on earth to constantly grow and evolve. And when we allow for toxic relationships that disrespect us and drag our energy down, stunt our growth and development, and don't allow for us to alchemize negativity into positivity in our lives, we have to seriously examine those relationships and see whether or not they need to be eliminated, or if we can just set boundaries with these people. And I understand that we come from all different cultures here. I'm sure some of you are tuning in and you were raised in a culture where you are so embedded in your family system or your society that, you know, it's like interdependent. It is part of your belief system that that's something you need to honor. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's belief system, and I'm not trying to minimize the struggle here today for those of you that are dealing with an abusive spouse or toxic family members, and maybe you're having difficulty getting out of it because of your age or financial circumstances. I understand the depth of this topic. We don't have time to get into all of that today. Again, we will be taking your questions and comments, but this is a general approach to how to properly handle a situation like this. And at the very least, I hope you walk away with a deeper understanding of what it means on a universal level, okay, and what's really healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And then I'm going to pass this over to you, Christina. The first thing I want to say is that, you know, for those of you who follow me, you know I've been talking a lot in recent years about the Hopi Prophecy coming into full effect, people going dark, the last Hopi Prophecy, people deciding that they are not going to choose a higher vibration. And so in repeatedly choosing a low vibration, things have come to a head in around 2019, which was also the time of the Great Awakening. And those people are falling off. They're going dark. They're going mentally ill, so to speak. And that we are not responsible for trying to drag them out of that pit or drag them along with us on our healing journey. And this is going to increase and peak in around 2024, but going all the way into 2025. Okay. So this is just something to keep in mind, that we are in a particularly difficult hot spot in this development, triggered by the awakening. Sort of like saying every time the bus stops, somebody's got to get off. In order for a new door to open, another door is going to have to close. So we are going in the right direction, but it's going to be uncomfortable here for a while. And it's really hitting so many of us hard in the relationship sector here, let's say. So the question we need to be asking ourselves is this, okay? When is it time to go no contact? And is boundary setting enough? When do you really need to do it? I would say that if you feel that you are being tested by the universe is talking to you about your karma, possibly even past life trauma, about resolving toxic cycles in your life in general, and confronting you with the fact that you're not honoring yourself. This is a time where you may be called to go no contact. I think it's important too, if you are going through karmic level up, you want to end a toxic karmic cycle, you need to change your perspective on all of this. It isn't that you're taking a beating, it isn't that you're being punished, it isn't that something's wrong. It's an opportunity. Every time we go through a major struggle, it's an opportunity for us to evolve and to master a new skill. So looking at it from that angle will help you to detach from the dynamics of the toxic relationship, from the other person who's going to latch on and fight you, and from all of the emotional and mental turmoil that you may be going through. So change your perspective. It's an opportunity for you to master a new skill. When do you need to go no contact? I would say that when the person has shown you repeatedly, you have a pattern of proof that they are going to disrespect you and that they are determined to cause damage to your well-being. How do we go no contact? 3 different things I want you to do. You can come up with a game plan. I'm telling you, without this, there's really no hope, because especially if you're emotional. Okay. Do we have any water signs here? Especially you guys, or even I know Libras, you guys like your relationships. If you don't have a game plan about how you're going to proceed forward, you're really going to struggle to possibly even, get this done. But if you get it done, to maintain it. So understand how you're going to proceed forward and be determined to stick to it. In a minute here, we're going to talk about ways to help you to stick to it. Number 2, know your abuser. Know how to manipulate the situation to work in your favor. Take your power back. A lot of people will say, well, if you're going to go no contact, you have to cut them off, through the phone. You can't receive text. You got to cut them off on social media. You have to cut them off X, Y, and Z. Make sure you're doing it all this way. There is no real form for this. I think that those are great suggestions, and you may need to, but you can also look at the toxic individual, study them, and say, you know what? This is how they're going to handle the situation if I set this boundary, and I don't want it to get worse. Or you need to say to yourself, what is going to be easiest on me yet effective? A great example is like cutting off an ex who's abusive, right? And they want to turn into a stalker right away. And they're going to be pelleting you with calls and texts and voicemails. But if you know that if you cutting that person off from the phone is going to send them over to your social media accounts, or they're going to start showing up at your job, or they're going to start driving over to your house, maybe it's best for you to give them that outlet. I have let people just text and bombard me because I don't want them going somewhere else and causing a menace there. So I'm still effective in setting the boundary and not communicating with them, but I've got them contained. So know your abuser and see how you can manipulate the situation to be easiest on you, yet effective. I would also say that you need to, number 3, allow for the love to be there. Okay. So don't negate the good. It's not realistic to say that someone we spent a significant amount of time with, or that we love, or who has given us love, that it was never good, that there were only bad times, that it's nothing but toxicity. It is often a combination, right? That's how it got that bad, because there is a combination of good. The good is rolled in with the bad. Embrace the good. Does this mean that you should communicate with them, or that forgiveness means letting them back in? Of course not. But you can allow yourself to have an attitude of gratitude about the good things that did happen, or what they gifted you, or what did go right. That's part of alchemizing. the negativity into positivity, okay, is embracing all of it. Love is love. Positivity is positivity. Don't be afraid of it. Don't let anyone tell you that you have to completely tune the experience out. And if you don't feel strong enough to do that in the beginning, maybe later you can let a little bit more of that in. But, you know, the good times have a way of creeping in. And you're not going to be able to, you know, completely tune that out. And there's really no reason to do so. Let's talk about typical manipulative tactics that are going to be used. The minute you set a boundary, you can expect certain things to happen from the toxic person. So let's go down through this list here. I would say that their goal for many of them, not everybody's the same, but often the goal is to exhaust you. So they're going to find ways to come at you repeatedly or even from different angles, whatever they think is going to be most effective in exhausting you, getting you to break down and eventually communicate with them again. Right, a common approach is triangulation. This we talk a lot about with narcissists and sociopaths, you know. So like a narcissistic technique is triangulation, meaning talking behind your back, reaching out to your family, your friends, you know, your community, your people, creating flying monkeys, getting people in your circle that you trust or that can get an inside scoop to turn against you and to start working for the abuser. So pay attention to who's around you, what's going on. They will also lay low for fairly significant periods of time. Now, you know, I'm not a therapist, and you can Google narcissism and you can look at like covert and like narcissism and what's the other word I'm looking for? Not extrovert narcissism. Covert and what is it? Overt? I don't know. Okay. Different kinds of narcs. And it tends to be the same with people who, you know, maybe aren't narcissists, but they're abusive in that way. You're going to have your people who are covert and they're capable of laying low for significant periods of time before they reach back out to you again. You may get your guard down. You may think they've gone through change of heart. You know, you may think they're gone. And then all of a sudden it's like crabgrass, right? Here they are again. So understand that your abuser will have patterns in the way that they reach out or the way that they try to attack you and how they stay low, sort of taking breaks. We would also see needling, petty behavior. They could do this through annoying texts or coming to your house and leaving things or on your social media or, you know, again, just trying to create, you know, havoc at like your job, whatever the situation is. Expect them to needle you. Then the Hoovering Technique. Okay, you can Google this one if you've never heard of it. It's one of the, I think it's like 12 narcissistic techniques, but a lot of people use it, not just narcs. Hoovering is sucking you back in after you have set a boundary, you've left the relationship, you've said no more, whatever it is. They will try to pull you back in with promises and convince you that they've changed and try to, you know, get your guard back down so that they can give you another beating. Then we'll see ultimatums and bargaining. This is funny sometimes. If you've ever had an ex who's like, that's it, I'm suicidal now, you know, and I mean, just making all kinds of threats of how they're going to harm themselves or they're going to destroy things, you know, and you know, it's not so funny when they're talking about destruction directly in your world, and it should be taken seriously. But, you know, it's very rare that anyone has the guts to follow through. These are just techniques to manipulate you and suck you back in. We would also see this commonly with I say it's bargaining, but it's like They may not say anything verbally, but all of a sudden they're drinking again, they're using again, they got fired from another job, they're incapable, they've gone from being this adult to this infantile, ridiculous person who can't handle anything, right? It's almost like faking sick. It's like crying wolf. So be prepared for some kind of drama there, and them trying to use it to manipulate you, to fix them, or to help them, like you caused it. And that's the next one, is them playing victim. They'll accuse you of being mean. They'll accuse you of being abusive. We talk about, reactionary abuse. If you've ever suffered for an extended period of time with a family member or a lover, whatever it is, where they were abusing you, you may have displayed some reactionary abuse where you do, lash out, but they'll try to say that was your fault. It's like gaslighting, right? All the same jazz. So them playing victim, them twisting it, turning it around and saying that you're the problem, you caused this, when what you're really doing is setting a healthy boundary for the way that they treated you disrespectfully. And the last one is setting you up for a hit. So when someone has been told that they are no longer allowed to communicate with you in the same way or at all, or treat you in the same way, they will start to manipulate whatever it is that you said, and anything that you have confided in them or they've found out about your life in the past, and they will set you up for these hits. They will try to use that vulnerable information or whatever it is that you want to upset you, and to possibly threaten to, whether it's expose your information or just sort of push it in your face, make you listen to things that are traumatizing to you. And you may find that is triggering, for you, and causes you to want to be reactionary. You want to lash out over that. So expect that they're going to try to use it as a hit. If we're talking about old lovers, an example of this is they'll, maybe all of a sudden start to threaten that they're going to go sleep with somebody else, or they're going to start dating again. You're like, who cares? Like, I cut you off. What more do you want from me? You know what I mean? But they're going to use whatever they think is going to trigger you, that may have been a point in the relationship they knew about. All right, let's talk about how to stay no contact. People, this is it, okay? If you don't tune in, take anything else away with you today. You have got to understand how to maintain this. It is not as easy as it may seem. Whether this is family, old friends, coworkers, a lover, a spouse, your kids, whatever it is, wherever you have to set these boundaries, you have to be able to maintain it. And this is where you start to get really broken down. It can also, and I don't have this in the sermon today, but Spirit's just telling me to mention it, be mindful of your dreams. I have a class up on the website called Dreams. I was super creative with that title. And it teaches you, one of the techniques is how to use lucid dreaming to control your dreams, to restore that sacred space and time so that you can heal and, grow, do what you're supposed to during that time. So be mindful that your sleep state may be a point of attack for you. All right, how to stay no contact. For those of you tuning in late, welcome. If you could give this video a thumbs up, donations are appreciated. Please subscribe, post your questions, comments, prayer, and healing requests. We're going to be getting to them in just a little bit. All right, how do you stay no contact? Number one, you need to have a buddy system that's going to check you. You don't have to talk to everybody under the sun. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, on the street doesn't need to know what you're going through. But do you have a friend or a mentor, anyone who you feel isn't going to judge you when you're struggling in the process? Because all you need is more pressure put on you. Okay, you don't need that. But someone who is open to assisting you through your experience and just saying to you, does that seem like the right thing to do? Reaching out to this person, or do you really believe that this individual has changed? Or well, how does that make you feel intuitively? Whatever it is. And this person can keep you in check, sort of like a gym buddy. Okay. If you struggle to lose weight or stay consistent with goals and tasks in your life, you're probably going to be the kind of person who struggles with this a lot. Number 2, train your brain. You need to know your triggers and that this person is going to use those triggers, and create tools that you can use to get past those triggers so that, I think it's important to understand that most abusers, they're tiresome cows. They've often backed themselves up against a wall. They're not going to be super creative in the abuse process and in disrespecting your boundaries, but you can't be reactionary or you're feeding the problem. So be prepared to stay strong. Come from a place of mindfulness, be conscientious about the decisions you make and the way that you're thinking. Number 3, okay, keep these things in mind. You can detach. You can tell yourself, yes, I have feelings for this person, or their abuse against me and disrespect is really upsetting me, but they are not an of me. You can even stop seeing people as people, if that helps you. Start seeing people for what they are, their energy that is either choosing a high vibration or a low vibration. It may also help you to look at your abuser and say, I think they have a mental illness. I think there's something more going on here. That can be hard to admit, but sometimes you just need to accept that. And for those of you that are dealing with someone abusive who is involved with drugs and alcohol, that is no excuse. You can't be holding on to hope all the time that maybe they correct it one day. Okay. But you can say, some of this is the drugs and alcohol. But again, they are not an extension of me. I'm going to have to keep my boundaries set. You should also be creating distractions for yourself. Do you want to work out more? What are your goals? Do you have new hobbies? You should immerse yourself in loving others and receiving the love from others, especially for those of you who are in a toxic family unit. I grew up in that type of environment. It can make you feel really lonely when the people you were born to don't care about you. I call them murderous parents. If you have a really destructive family unit that you came from, and you feel that there's no love for you in the world coming from anyone or anywhere, you have to remember that the universe provides you with that. And you have to, be willing to surround yourself with people or situations that give it to you in different ways. It doesn't have to be your idealistic, concept of receiving love from a parent, for example. But being exposed to love and giving love, it's all around us. Okay. So make sure you make it a point to get in that type of environment, because that's part of the alchemizing process. Remember that your abuser or abusers, they want to put your light out and they're putting out hatred. And the opposite of that is love. So just expose yourself to it as much as possible. I would also suggest dating. If this was a lover who was really putting you through the gauntlet of, trials and abuse, tribulations, and making you feel as though you can never be with anyone else, or your self-esteem is in the toilet, whatever the situation may be. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you got to heal from that. You got to take the time to heal from that. You can heal and date at the same time. As long as you're being healthy, you understand where you are, you're being open and honest about that, you pick appropriate partners, they can be part of that healing journey. And I'm sure your old lover doesn't want to see you with anyone else, and it may actually help to get rid of them sooner. So don't be closed off to the idea of dating or getting yourself back out there. I would also say that you need to remember that letting this person back in is a huge hindrance to your forgiveness. If you are struggling to forgive and let go, so to speak, okay, if you keep letting this person back in to treat you that way, it is making it nearly impossible. Again, I understand some of us are in extenuating circumstances. We live in a community. We can't get out of it. But if you can, okay, and even if you are stuck in it, there are different ways to set boundaries and change your thinking. But letting it back all the time is you disrespecting yourself, and it's making forgiveness often impossible. And you have to have that, because lack of forgiveness causes a deterioration in your prosperity, your wealth, your health, everything. Okay. It is at the core of everything. I would also say that you should never, and this is the last thing, I'm going to turn this over to you, Christina. Okay. You should never focus on them. I know that it's tough because, especially if you were in a narcissistic or sociopathic relationship, they've got you so gaslit that you want to know, did they really love me, or did they ever care, or is it going to get better? I could not have possibly misunderstood this entire thing, and you want answers. And in any kind of abusive relationship, we typically want to rewrite the ending, but you have to understand that that's coming from a place of ego, which is fear, manipulation, and control. You're trying to control them. You're trying to control the outcome, and you can't do that. You can only control your own healing journey. So focus on your karma and let go of what it is that's going on with them, whether or not they're ever going to apologize, whether or not they're ever going to get justice, whether or not karma's ever going to hit them, and it will. Don't worry about it. That's not your job. And, put your perspective back in place, which is on that higher vibration of where you're headed and how you're getting free. Okay, so again, if you guys are tuning in late, welcome. This is Roots Revival Interfaith, where we believe in the three truths in the universe. That's intuitive intelligence, astrology, and numerology. We're going to be taking your questions and comments, prayer and healing requests. Please give this video a thumbs up. Donations are appreciated. Christina, what do you have to say on this today?
I'm going to jump around a little bit because I know yours was very organized. But, in astrology, we can see in the chart when cycles end by looking at the South Node many times. The South Node, if it's transiting over a planet, or if a planet is transiting over your South Node, we see the end of a cycle. We see that you're purging something. So it's not just, oh, should I get rid of this person? Shouldn't I get rid of this person? You know what I mean? In my life, it's there on purpose. Like it's written in your life contract that you have to, end this toxicity, move on. And if it's a work setting or something and you have to maintain boundaries, you have to know, and it still shows in the chart, but you have to commit to that boundary that you set and stick with it. You end a cycle with a person because the growth is done. It can't grow anymore. And the lesson is learned and the karma is resolved. When you start holding on, that's when it becomes toxic. So chances are you were holding on too long anyway, and it got toxic because you ignored your inner voice telling you it's time. And you were like, no, it's not. So chances are it got toxic because one or both of you was ignoring the signs. And, that becomes a detriment to both your life lessons, fulfilling the life contract. You're no longer vibrating on the same level, and that's okay. That is okay because that person has to learn their lessons and you have to learn your lessons. And, maybe at one point you were vibrating on the same level, right? And then something happened and that person dropped down. And that's a lesson they have to learn. You know what I mean? It's part choice, it's part karma, it's part, life contract. But if you're making a choice to go higher, do you see how the energies just can't coexist? And if they do, it's going to be so detrimental to the both of you. So you're actually doing the person a favor when you are doing this, if that helps you at all. And we're supposed to move on. We're not supposed to stay in a toxic relationship or a friendship too, because friendships as well can become toxic. You have to have courage because it goes against everything society stands for. I mean, think about it. If you're leaving your husband, right? Society is not very supportive of that. We're supposed to, the whole idea of marriage is staying together forever, one person, right? This is the system, the old system that we have set up, the patriarchy has set up, and we need to tear it down. This is our job right now, to tear down the system. It's because it just doesn't work anymore. That was the survival. The idea that we're supposed to grow old together. We don't want to, somebody said to me the other day, well, you don't want to be alone at 80. Really? I'm thinking about 80 right now. You know what? When I'm 80, there's going to be men in the retirement home that are single. Okay. And I bet you any money, I'm not going to want any of them. So,
And they're probably going to be 20 years younger. So,
so you know what? Do we really want that? I'm not going to be with somebody just because I don't want to be alone at 80. Not happening. Worse is being stuck with someone you hate. Take it from, being in that environment, observing that environment as a child. Hate only builds more hate. And then, there's no peace in your life. And who wants to live in a home with no peace? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? And also your health needs to be your first priority. I mean, think about it. Like, if all this toxicity is going on, boundary, you're not keeping up your boundaries, that's going to affect your health. And then really, like, so now you have hate, you have toxic person, you have you're stuck, your health is going to go down the drain. I mean, it just leads to so much horribleness that you should just do the work that it takes to cut the person out. And it's easier said than done. Yes, I get that. But trust me, if you don't do it, it's going to be harder down the road. So going no contact. Well, I'm getting better at this one. So people with, just like you said, the water signs, especially, Cancer, Pisces, we tend to hold on forever. Scorpio, we hang in there till the bitter end. But I do have a couple hacks, I guess, that I've used. So when do you actually go no contact? Well, when the person has lost respect for you, I don't know about you, but there are people in my life I've lost respect for. Once I lose respect for you, I can't get it back. Do you think if the person clearly has no respect for you, do you think they're going to get that back all of a sudden? That's not coming back. So that is a game changer. Gotta go. That relationship dynamic, gotta go. Anytime you see hate towards you, there's a fine line between love and hate. Well, if that love starts to transition to hate, that's a sign. You gotta go. Because your peace will be anytime your peace is disrupted for a long period of time, it can't be resolved, and you can try counseling, you can try all these things, especially in a marriage or in a relationship. But if those things are not helping and it just keeps going in that certain direction, you got to follow the signs. The universe will bring you sign after sign after sign. I love the meme. It's like, I'm waiting for a signier sign. Like that was totally me back in the day. And I can remember when 2 weeks before I found out my husband was cheating on me, I walked past a dragonfly that had its head cut off. Yeah. And on my meditation walks, and I knew something bad was coming, but I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? You can look at all the charts you want, but you don't know what that one thing's going to be, that one thing coming. I knew something was coming, but I didn't know what it was. And then dragonflies became signs of change, but then they became like positive signs. But the dead dragonfly right in the middle of the sidewalk with no head, that was a sign. So you have to it's like the universe telling me it's coming. So you can't ignore that stuff. And I can't say that I am not guilty of ignoring those things, because I am, but I'm learning. As long as you learn from what you're ignoring, as long as you learn from your lessons, you're good. Yeah, nothing's going to change, especially when dialogue becomes the same. Repetitive dialogue, that's very narcissistic. The person's telling you the same story that they told you a month ago. Like, they're just sticking to their guns because they don't want to falter in their lies and stuff. So you got to be real careful with that. So when you do make that break, and you know what I wanted to talk about too? You talked about triangulation too. And this is when, some of you know this is when they start telling the neighbors that you're crazy, or they start telling people, or not speaking from experience at all, when they call ahead to the doctor's office that you're taking your child to and tells the doctor that you're crazy. Okay. Not speaking from experience. No. And you know what I mean? And then you can see that everybody thinks you're nuts there. So these are things that are going to happen. And, you know, and somebody will tell you, well, you know, your ex said you're crazy. And you know what? You don't feed into that. You just say, oh, okay. And you stick to the facts. You don't feed into, well, he's crazy and blah, blah. Nope. Because you know what? You own whatever crazy you are. And then you stick to the facts and you just say, well, okay, you know, this is the fact and this is the fact. And they will see the truth eventually. They might not see it right away, but it will come out. You stay focused on what you need to focus on. Yeah. If somebody's trying to tell you, well, you know, you should really forgive them, or, you know, like, you know, you just want to keep it together, just because it's logical to them doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. You need to do what is in your heart, what feels right. If it feels off, it's because it's got to go. Yeah. And you can't level up until that is out of your life. Like, it's going to continue. Let's see. What else do I have to say? Yeah, petty behaviors as well. Stick to the facts as much as you possibly can. You know, we are all guilty of getting triggered. Not gonna lie, I'm triggered occasionally, but I do try to stick to the facts. I try to bring myself back down, ground myself, stick to the facts. This was one. So for the water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, anybody with those energies that really have a tough time, this is what I did. I wrote down every single thing that person did in a notebook. Every stupid, every nasty, every little words, phrases, pages of it. And whenever I had an inkling of, well, maybe I shouldn't get the divorce, maybe I went right to that book. I opened it up and I was like, oh my God, right? Because there was so much. I was like, there's no way. I can't resolve this in my head. No way. So that notebook was probably a lifesaver because it just reminded me that I was doing the right thing. And, you know, and here's the thing with the water energy. I still felt bad, even though this person had done horrible, awful, terrible things to me. And I still felt bad for getting a divorce and for putting up boundaries. I still felt horrible about it. Isn't that stupid? It's not. It's just part of people who have a lot of water, people who have a lot of empathy. They feel guilty about it. But I had to do what was best for me. I had to do what was best for the children. I had to do what was best for him, even though he didn't think it was best for him. So, you know, I had to tap into my higher self. So keep the notebook. If you feel bad, I even told my lawyer I felt bad. She looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, I feel so bad. And she's like, yeah, you know, and like, they don't get it. You know what I mean? But it is what it is when you're an empath. Be willing to go through a lonely time. This is important because you'll be pushed to the brink where you're like, oh, maybe I should text that person, or I wonder how they're doing, or I wonder if, you know, things have changed. Do not do that. And I think this is a lot easier nowadays with technology because you can text a friend, you can text somebody else, you can go on a date if you have to. Dating's not bad. You know what I mean? Seeing what's out there, seeing how you connect with others, seeing what else is going on. That's a perfect solution to get your mind off of that situation. And even if you make friends, I'm still friends with guys I, you know, went on a couple dates with. Nothing happened, nothing came out of it, but we maintain friendships. You know, it's not the end of the world. I'll end with this. There is a very faded, actually made a video about it on my YouTube channel, but there is a very faded configuration in the sky. Uranus, Mars, and the North Node are coming together on July 31st, August 1st. So this is a very big push to take action on something. So if you know that this is for you to go in a different direction than where you are at with a friend, relationship, a coworker, a job. There's something big in your life that you probably need to do a 180 on. That pay attention now until then. And, you might not exactly know what it is, or maybe you do. Pay attention, because action is going to be quick and it's going to be destined. So take all these things we're saying and use them. That's all I got.
Whew, love it. All right, on fire, girl. So, this is something else I just want to say. On a somewhat personal note, and even to you, just Christina, like on a personal note, the fact that Christina and I have known each other for 10 years. We've seen each other go through a lot. We've been there for each other through a lot. To watch someone alchemize in the way that she has, like the work that you've done, Christina, especially like the last 3 years, let's say, just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And, we are living, walking, talking examples of, walk the walk. If you get talk, you gotta walk that walk. And she has gone through extremely difficult times and a lot of blindsiding and handled it. I mean, like a champ, like a queen, is here today to speak the truth and give you these tools. It does work, but you have to be willing to put in that work. She can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. The universe can't do it for you. It's not all let go, let God. We are sent here to earth to fight. And there is a certain amount of karma that's going to get worked out on its own. And there's a certain amount of karma that you have to walk out on your own, especially in these situations, because they attack in just such a kind of profound way, Christina, that was awesome. I had a million things to say, but I know we are going to get to questions and comments. Then we'll get to our last word here. Wesley, my handsome producer, if you could start popping up any questions or comments that we have. The Queen of Wands says, I believe that 100%. If you don't let go when the time comes, the universe will do it for you. Or even worse, the universe doesn't do it for you. And you stay in that cycle and you deteriorate more and more and more. And you even take others down with you from your circle and you lose everything. I mean, you almost hope the universe, right? I don't know. Christina, you have a comment on that?
It's much more ugly when the universe does it. And when you just do it yourself. So I'll put it that way. Get ahead of it. But yes. I think for me, I didn't get ahead of it. And that's why it was like my whole world crashed. But it's because I was not living fully to my life's purpose. So it was to put me back on track as well.
Powerful. From Soul's Purpose Enlightened, I was abused. My ex-husband got out 3 years ago. I blocked him because I couldn't take him always texting me harshly. Now, because he has my daughter and supposed to bring her back tonight, I might call the police. Okay, I think we're talking about something that's currently going on. I'm sorry you're going through that. Yes, and I am eventually going to do a free mini class, and I don't know, maybe Christina and I will do a sermon on this, but on parental alienation and abuse, especially through the divorce process by a spouse. It's not always just financial. It's not always mental, emotional. Sometimes they grab that kiddo and they use that against you. And it is a disgusting, super common, more frequently exposed situation, I think, especially here in America.
It sounds like she's dealing with it healthy, though, because calling the police would be a boundary for sure. Letting that person know that they don't have, the power. I mean, she has to choose in the end, but she did cut him off, and she's okay with calling the police. So I think she's handling it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. From Mahoney32, I've been off sugar and dairy for a month and have had very intense lucid dreaming. Is this a common thing to have happen? I believe, I talk about this a little bit more in the dreams class. Again, it's up on the website above or below, depending on where you're tuning in the description. But yes, if you change your lifestyle, if you change your eating habits, especially if it's like drinking or drug use, anything that may have been addictive, like you were talking, I think she said sugar, right? This changes you. And It helps too when your body isn't so focused on extracting something or filtering, processing something. You can get into deeper states of rest and, dream states for sure.
Yeah, I don't know too much about lucid dreaming yet, but I'm off sugar. So that your whole body chemistry really changes when you're off sugar. So probably a good thing.
The Queen of Wands says, that's so true. Sometimes the signs are so clear and yet we question them. 100%. We just have to use enough self-control to stop doing that. We need to stop being so double-minded. If you tend to negate the signs that the universe is sending you, you probably also negate your own intuition, your psychic ability, your third eye, your higher mind. And that's a really dangerous place to be. So start every day going inside and sitting with yourself, maybe 10, 20 minutes, with your higher mind, your guides, your ancestors, and start honoring that energy. And it'll get easier as time goes on to accept it as truth. Okay, do we have any more, Wesley, or do we want to get into... Okay, so we're going to get into prayer time. You guys, if you have not already done so, go ahead and post your prayer and healing requests. We will be getting to these. If you guys are commenting after this is published, you can count on us continuously sending energy to you. I was explaining at the beginning of our service today that we have reached a point where we are officially too big. This is a great problem to have. We appreciate you guys so much for following us on the podcast, here on YouTube and on TikTok. And the prayer and healing requests have become overwhelming. So what we're going to start doing now is just a blanket approach. And I do ask that right now, everyone put your energy into this prayer and manifestation time. Holy Spirit, we thank you for being with us. We thank you for guiding us today and always. And we ask that you help everyone who is asking for either your guidance or additional wisdom into their healing process. If they are stressed over health concerns, finances, the state of the world, others, whatever it may be, we ask that you continue to communicate with them and help them to receive the guidance that you're giving and to apply it to their lives going forward. And I want to say a special prayer over anyone who's struggling with an abuser, a toxic relationship, that all of us dealing with this understand that the most loving thing that we can possibly do is to love ourselves and to honor what is for our highest and best good, and that allowing for the other person to go is also loving them. It's setting them free to learn the lessons that they came to earth to learn. Sometimes we just can't do that together, and that's okay. Help everyone to accept that and to focus on the future instead of being held back by the past. All right. Closing thoughts, Christina?
Just that, the world we're seeing accelerated change right now, and you're being called to change. So however this speaks to you, it's time to set that in motion.
And I want to say that we should honor the way that we physically react, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically react to other people. We should honor those reactions sooner. We need to get more cutthroat. We need to get more honest, and we need to get over the fear of being alone. Your best company is yourself when you are at your highest vibration anyways. So love on yourself. Know that you always have the universe, even when there isn't a significant other there, the family that you grew up with, or, the friends that you used to know. And that allows room for others to come in. If you keep blocking up the hall, that movement can't happen.
Yeah. And I don't think we mentioned this, but I think it's important to teach our young girls too boundaries right away, instead of being polite, trusting them to kind of honor their intuition, and and boundaries right away, and to speak up right away if anybody violates those boundaries as well, because we have to help the next generation, not suffer the way that we have suffered, because we're trying to break that cycle.
Amen. And examine your boys, people, okay? Because they're not off the hook, and they need to start learning when they're pushing those boundaries deliberately, and they are part of the programming here in the patriarchy.
That's right.
Nip it in the bud. All right, while they're young. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Wesley, our producer, Spirit, everyone for tuning in here. Christina, appreciate you guys so much. And remember that you can listen to the old services anywhere that you can download a podcast if you'd like to listen on the go, or here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, up in the Roots Revival playlist. We will see you guys in a couple Sundays. Have a great week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.